Hello, fellow investor. I want to welcome you to this channel. In this video, we look at the earnings expectations for EPR Properties. EPR is scheduled to report first quarter earnings on Wednesday, May 7th after the market close. We'll cover several topics to see how EPR is trading going into the earnings and help set expectations moving forward. We will review the current price chart and trend charts along with some key valuation metrics. I'll also share EPR portfolio holdings and performance. Let's get started. EPR Properties reports on Wednesday, May 7th after the market close. In the previous quarter, EPR reported revenue of $177.23 million, beating revenue estimates by $15.98 million. EPR reported funds from operations of $1.23 per share, beating by a penny. For this quarter, the revenue estimate is $164.18 million, with funds from operations of $1.18 per share. Over the last 90 days, 4 analysts raised estimates and 1 analyst lowered estimates. EPR beats analysts 1 year forward estimates 91% of the time. The options market is pricing an implied move of plus or minus 10.12%. EPR Properties represents 1.6% of my equity portfolio and 6% within my REIT portfolio. I have held EPR since September of 2022 and have trimmed and added shares since that time. EPR has provided a total return of 24.9% on my current holdings. My average cost per share is $48.93. Like many other REITs, we saw really good performance in 2024. As the Federal Reserve began talk of reducing interest rates. Most REITs began to decline when those rate cuts were put on pause. EPR, starting in December, had a really good run up to highs of around $53. EPR drew down about 20.8% from the high before the tariff announcements to the intraday low on April 10th. It has nearly recovered all of that loss since. I do expect REITs to perform well over the next 1 to 2 years as additional rate cuts again seem to be on their way. We do see good relative strength with EPR. RSI currently sitting at 57.57. We also see good momentum, with the momentum line above the midpoint. Looking at relative strength compared to the SPX, we can see that EPR is underperforming the SPX both on relative strength and momentum at this time. The accumulation over the last 2 months has been relatively flat. We do see positive money flow. And when we look at how EPR has performed against the SPY over the last year, we can see that it's outperformed the SPY by 18.34%. It's outperformed the real estate sector by 11.57%. And it's outperformed its industry group by 21.61%. Looking at the 5-year weekly trend chart, we can see that EPR is trading above its long-term averages. We can see on the midterm that it's also outperforming its averages. And on the short term, it is also outperforming its short-term averages. So EPR appears to be showing pretty strong relative strength moving into the earnings. From Seeking Alpha, EPR has a forward price to AFFO of 9.99 times compared to the sector of 14.94 times. The expected AFFO growth rate is minus 0.44% compared to the sector at 2.52%. The expected revenue growth over the next year for EPR is expected to be 0.1% compared to the sector at 3.59%. When we look at profitability, EPR has a net margin of 21.22% compared to the sector average of 9.3%. Turning to fast graphs, we can see that EPR has a blended price to AFFO of 10.18 times, an AFFO yield of 9.86, indicating fairly good value. And it also pays a dividend with a yield of 7.08%. The AFFO growth rate over the time frame shown is 2.15% per year. The fair value ratio is calculated at 12.79%, and the normal price to AFFO ratio is 12.64 times. EPR is expected to grow 4% in 2025, 3% in 2026, and 1% in 2027. We can see the price is pretty much tracking the blended price to AFFO. My expectation over the next 2 years is that we trade more to a normal price to AFFO, which could give us a 25.13% total annualized return over the next year and a half. And that's based on expected rate cuts coming forward that will greatly benefit REITs. I hope you found this earnings preview helpful. If so, please subscribe to the channel for future videos and consider giving a like to help support the channel. Thank you for stopping by. I wish you the best in your investment journey, and remember to trade well.